Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Effective Communication at Work, Speaking and Writing Well in the Modern Workplace by Vicki Mcleod. Narrated by Eva Wilhelm. Limit of liability, disclaimer of warranty. The publisher and the author make no representations or warranties with respect to the accuracy or completeness of the contents of this work, and specifically disclaim all warranties, including without limitation, warranties of fitness for a particular purpose. No warranty may be created or extended by sales or promotional materials. The advice and strategies contained herein may not be suitable for every situation. This work is sold with the understanding that the publisher is not engaged in rendering medical, legal, or other professional advice or services. If professional assistance is required, the services of a competent professional person should be sought. Neither the publisher nor the author shall be liable for damages arising herefrom. The fact that an individual, organization, or website is referred to in this work as a citation and/or potential source of further information does not mean that the author or the publisher endorses the information the individual, organization, or website may provide, or recommendations they, or it, may make. Further, listeners should be aware that websites listed in this work may have changed or disappeared between when this work was written and when it is heard. Introduction. In 1994, I launched my strategic communications consultancy, Main Street Communications Limited. We worked with businesses and government agencies, supporting their external and internal communications. In those days, very few civic governments had a formal communications function. The Internet was new, and clients were cautious about venturing into an unknown space. In addition to crafting comprehensive communications plans for them, we worked hard to convince clients to consider using the World Wide Web as a tool to connect with their stakeholders and customers. Nearly 20 years later, I found myself making the same arguments to clients, this time about establishing social media profiles. I've now worked with hundreds of businesses, organizations, and individuals to help them overcome their reluctance to engage in social networking with clients and customers. The introduction of new communication strategies and technologies brought significant change. For some, this was positive. For others, it was a struggle. I have always had a strong commitment to personal development work, believing that human potential is one of the last great unexplored frontiers. In both my corporate practice and my private coaching practice, I have had the privilege to work directly with professionals at all levels. For nearly 30 years, I have closely observed the habits, behaviors, and traits that make good leaders great, and stood shoulder to shoulder with them as they solved problems, navigated conflict, and addressed personal and professional challenges. I have seen firsthand the positive impact of effective communication, not only on the lives and careers of the professionals with whom I've worked, but also on the success of their workplace projects, initiatives, and strategies. I lived more than half my life in a wholly analog environment and understand the mental shift required to embrace the technology of the digital age. The demands of the digital world and its never-ending learning curve can be exhausting. Helping clients cross the digital divide made me realize that they require additional skills to be successful, especially in managing the scope, scale, and pace of digital engagement. The ability to manage time, prioritize, avoid distraction, and focus on what truly mattered to them and their businesses became paramount. In 2015, I wrote a tiny book called #Untrending, a field guide to social media that matters, how to post, tweet, and like your way to a more meaningful life. I wrote it as a guide to using social media in a meaningful way. It aimed to help the reader use platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to communicate with authenticity and meaning. I proposed that in order to craft meaningful posts, we actually need to get offline, to disconnect in order to reconnect. I urged readers to find more time for offline pursuits, to dive deeply into life's offerings and fully digest them, and to then come back to technology enriched and fulfilled. I've devoted more than a decade to researching and writing about the intersection of the analog and digital worlds. Social media, email, chat platforms, instant messaging, and texting have dramatically impacted the way we communicate at home and at work, but we must be mindful of the need to connect offline and to be fully present at home and on the job. In this book, I draw extensively on my professional and personal experience as a consultant and as a professional coach. I hope that this book will educate, inform, and inspire you to take on the challenges posed by communicating effectively as we navigate the future together. I further hope it provides you the necessary insight and the confidence to speak up, show up, and contribute fully in your life and work. Part 1. Speak and Write Better at Work. Chapter 1. Why Communicating Well at Work is Important. Communication is a fascinating area to study. It is the way that people engage and interact and our primary means of human connection. Beyond its transactional purpose, sending and receiving messages, it involves a subtle interplay of empathy, intuition, intention, and comprehension. Done well, it deepens relationships, builds trust, and is a tool for complex and nuanced problem-solving. It helps us avoid misunderstandings and conflict and resolve them when they arise. Effective communication is at the heart of successful, happy relationships and healthy workplaces. We want people to see and hear us. We desire real understanding and long to connect. Nowhere is this more evident than in the rapid worldwide adaptation of digital communications technology. The digital age is revolutionizing how we communicate. Since you are listening to this book, you are aware that today's working world demands that individuals possess top-notch communication skills. Think about how vital it is to exchange ideas in important meetings or to convey the right information to new hires. What about offering supportive feedback to colleagues or asking your boss for a raise or a new opportunity? We spend most of our days engaged in our work. The social bonds we make with colleagues in the workplace often last a lifetime. Almost everybody has different communication styles. There are generational and cultural differences in every office. This is especially true now that we are living and working in more global environments. Expectations around technology and the aptitude required to use it effectively may vary widely. Older generations of workers are eager to pass on their expertise and mentor younger generations, but they may be clumsy when it comes to adopting new technologies. Today's young workers seek a well-rounded life, expect to enjoy their work, and want opportunities to use and introduce new ideas and skill sets. They comfortably use technology to support and enhance their lifestyles. Workers of all ages and stages of their career want to feel valued and acknowledged. Given these considerations, it is no wonder that communication is one of the top skills that employers look for in new hires. Employers consider communication a soft skill. These are desirable qualities that do not depend on acquired knowledge. Rather, they include common sense, the ability to deal with people, and a positive, flexible attitude. While hard skills are generally taught, database management, for example, or how to pilot a plane, soft skills are personality traits that have to do with attitude and inclination. These are transferable skills that one can apply in a variety of situations. Professionals who have a good grasp of the soft skills can easily learn or be trained in the hard or technical skills required for roles across and upward in the organization or business. See for yourself. Do a quick internet search of the most desirable workplace skills. You will find communication skills on every list. Communication skills are not just important when you are interviewing for a new position or looking for professional advancement. They are equally essential if you are in a position of leadership in an organization or running your own business. Take Jason, for example. Jason is a hard-working entrepreneur who runs a stable and successful home renovation business. He has 4 employees, and his biggest challenges are motivating his crew and setting and enforcing clear expectations around quality. Jason admits that communication is his primary problem. He does not like conflict and is not fully comfortable in his role as crew boss. Jason is in good company. According to a 2016 Harvard Business Review report, 69% of managers are uncomfortable communicating with their employees. Jason finds his work and the job site stressful and anxiety-inducing. He dreams of moving from home renovation into home building, where he will work with subcontractors and other professionals who will be dealing with their own crews on his behalf. But this will not solve the problem. He will still need to use critical communication skills, conflict management, problem-solving tools, and negotiating skills to develop the necessary relationships for his business to expand. Either way, he must deal with his own lack of skill in the crucial area of interpersonal communication if he is to succeed at any level. Think about this regarding your own workplace. If you are a team leader or manager, you may be like Jason, needing to direct the work of others and shouldering the responsibility for the team's success. You may have a manager like Jason, one of the many who are too uncomfortable or too poorly equipped to communicate effectively with their teams. Jason doesn't lack desire, but he lacks skill. He and others like him are very proficient at their required tasks. Jason is an excellent builder. But communication skills just don't come naturally to him. People like Jason need to learn, practice, and develop in the soft skills areas to grow to the next level in their careers. The good news is that people can learn these skills, and with practice, we can all become stronger communicators. The power of effective communication. What is effective communication? At its most basic, communication is how we send and receive messages. Whether we are communicating verbally, non-verbally, or in written form, we are first attempting to clearly articulate and convey thoughts, feelings, and ideas. Our goal is to get our message across. The second part of the communications equation is receiving the message. This involves engaged or active listening, reading cues, or observing and confirming what we have heard. To determine whether the sending and receiving of messages has been effective, it is important to understand the goal of the communication itself. Perhaps you are imparting important information to a colleague about a specific work process or safety concern. You may be looking to develop team spirit or build company morale by soliciting ideas and engagement from your team. Your goal might simply be to build relationships and trust to deepen human connection in the workplace. If you step back to identify the purpose and meaning of the communication for both the sender and receiver, you can then assess its effectiveness. Thus, effective communication is not just about sending clear messages and confirming that they are received. It is about validating mutual understanding. It involves more than just speaking, listening, writing, and reading. To communicate effectively, we need to use all our senses to express, interpret, and comprehend meaning. Workplace benefits of better communication. In the opening to this chapter, we talked about why effective communication is important. Let's explore further. Clear, straightforward communication fosters good working relationships and results in good staff morale and higher productivity. Happy workplaces can attract and retain the talent they need to be effective and profitable. Business processes and symptoms, from human resources policies to building company infrastructure, rely on comprehensive, accurate, and timely information in order to flow smoothly. At every stage of the development and design of such systems, people are required to communicate well. In the digital age, with multiple communication touchpoints, this has become more challenging than ever. To be competitive in today's marketplace, businesses must embrace innovation and find ways to move and adapt into new and expanding markets. In fast-moving business environments, breakdowns in communication are costly. Poor communication can drive wedges between teams, negatively impact customer service and sales, and poison the corporate culture, resulting in lost productivity and high staff turnover. Successful companies rely on the consistent expertise and interpersonal skills of their staff to collaborate on projects of all kinds, generating, analyzing, assessing, and prioritizing new ideas and initiatives. A high-performing workforce is essential to a company's success. We've established that employers prize good communication skills. Interestingly, it works both ways. Employees value effective communication from their employers as well. According to a 2019 report issued by the global recruiting and staffing agency Aerotech, clear, transparent communication makes the list of the top 10 most important benefits ranked by employees. Perhaps you have worked in an organization where you were undervalued or where employees were shielded from the company's goals and expectations. Such an environment can be stressful, or worse, it can become hostile or toxic. It is difficult to stay motivated and engaged if your management team does not value your opinion and you have no sense of how your work connects to the bigger picture. It is natural to want management to take your ideas seriously and recognize you for your work. It is also important to give and receive timely and useful feedback about performance and to have a clear understanding of how you contribute to the company's success. All of these rely on developing effective channels of communication, both online and off. What does good communication look like? Good communicators are attentive to detail. They understand that words matter and that we convey meaning not only through word choice, but also through the time, place, and medium by which we deliver those words. They are alert to communication cues and signals such as body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, eye contact, and gesture. They understand and respect diverse communication styles, cultures, experiences, and generational differences. They are engaged listeners and ask questions to clarify meaning and explore ideas more deeply. Good communicators understand that it is important to build trust and be empathetic. They are patient and positive. In both speaking and writing, they are clear, concise, and to the point. Their communication is friendly and professional, respecting their coworkers' time and often limited availability. They are responsive to requests and avoid making assumptions, passing judgment, or getting personal in the event of misunderstandings or conflict. They are on time and prepared for meetings, whether online or offline. They have a high level of self-awareness and work to find common ground. Becoming a good communicator takes practice. Here are some examples of good and bad communication in the workplace. See if you can identify the qualities that contribute to either effective or ineffective communication. Kate is open and friendly. She begins most conversations with a smile and makes eye contact before she begins speaking. She pauses frequently to allow her coworkers to contribute and asks questions to encourage them to engage. Greta receives dozens of email requests for information daily. She replies to them the same day, and if she doesn't have the required information, she provides a time frame for when coworkers can expect a response. Michelle prefers to communicate face-to-face. When she stops by her coworkers' desks, she checks to see how busy they are and asks if they have time to discuss the task. If not, she sets up a time to meet or covers her question in an email. John becomes easily overwhelmed by too much verbal information. He routinely sends follow-up emails summarizing and confirming his understanding of action items and information from meetings. Devin typically answers requests with one-word responses, terse to the point of rudeness. These require several follow-ups to elicit needed information. Nala is a bright, driven extrovert. In meetings, she takes over the agenda and dominates the discussion with her ideas. Emily checks her smartphone continually throughout meetings, texting under the table to coworkers in other parts of the building. She makes little eye contact and frequently asks to have the conversation repeated. Abe avoids using technology to interact and resists training on new tools. He requests multiple meetings to accomplish tasks and often lacks critical information distributed via digital platforms. These people all have different communication styles, preferences, and life experiences. They all do some things very well and have areas where they can improve. If you recognize a little of yourself in any of these examples, let me reassure you, you are in good company. They represent real-world clients who learned to play to their communication strengths and mitigate their weaknesses through commitment and practice. Adapting your personal communication style. We all have a personal style when it comes to communication. Our natural inclination toward being introverted and soft-spoken, or extroverted and more assertive, and even our culture or upbringing influence the way we engage and interact with others. To be successful in the workplace, and outside it, it is important to understand your personal style of communication and to be willing to adapt if necessary. There are various formal assessments that you can use to identify personality types and their related communication styles. Some of these include Myers-Briggs, DISC, Straight Talk, and the Enneagram Personality Test. Many offer excellent and useful insight. For our purposes, let's keep the discussion of styles general. There is an assessment you can take later in the book to help you identify your own communication strengths and challenges. Beyond the traditional segmentation of communication styles into passive, aggressive, passive-aggressive, and assertive, people generally tend to fall somewhere on the introversion and extroversion scale in terms of how they communicate and which communication channels they prefer. People also differ in how they process and comprehend information. Some of us are analytical and need data, hard facts, and details. This group prefers precise language and clarity. People who are more intuitive tend to focus on the big picture and trust their instincts. Introverts are often good listeners who need more time to consider and process ideas. The same goes for thinkers who appreciate facts, are deliberate in their communications, and tend toward caution. Extroverts tend to be linear thinkers who process quickly and out loud, often needing to talk through scenarios to solve problems. Some people are quite expressive and others more restrained. Many people value harmony above all else and are apt to be peacemakers who attune easily to others' feelings. Others like to compete and engage in robust debate, seeing themselves as take-charge people who value quick decisions and action. People also have different functional strengths such as written skills, oral skills, and reading or listening skills. Most of us have some blend of styles that serve us differently in different circumstances. What is important is that you develop an awareness of your own styles and preferences and take steps to identify and understand the styles and preferences of others. This is particularly useful because there are bound to be times you need to adapt your own style to communicate successfully. We also need to discern which channels are most appropriate for different types of communication. If you are a shy introvert, you may prefer the asynchronous nature of email and texting to communicate. However, emailing and texting may not be appropriate when a face-to-face conversational exchange is needed. Outgoing extroverts may prefer to talk everything through and come to rapid-fire decisions, but company policies and procedures may dictate that you summarize projects in writing or that you provide bullet-point overviews to team members prior to discussion and decision. A healthy workplace appreciates, respects, and values different communication styles. The perks and challenges of communication in the digital age. We live in a time when our ability to communicate with each other is unparalleled. With the Internet, we are less restricted by time or geography than ever before, and can connect with one another across the globe with unprecedented ease. These advances are transforming how we communicate. Let's examine a typical contemporary workplace. Nearly every workstation will have an individual PC or laptop. Employees will have a personal smartphone and perhaps a company smartphone or tablet as well. In addition to your workstation, you may also have a laptop that you bring back and forth to work or use when you travel. Because of wireless technology and cloud storage, we can access and share our work files from any location. Tools and platforms such as Dropbox, Basecamp, Slack, and Google Drive enable project teams to work together in real time from anywhere, across the world and across cultures. Video conferencing via Skype, Zoom, GoToMeeting, and other platforms means we can enjoy face-to-face communication away from the office. Add to the mix email, text messaging, voice memos, FaceTime. We need not only to be effective communicators in terms of exchanging ideas, we also need to be skilled at using a wide variety of technologies and understand the norms and etiquettes of their use. With the advent of social media, I began training business and community leaders in how to use it effectively. I asked them to imagine that they were visitors to a new planet, a planet called social media. Taking the travel analogy further, each of the social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, is like a different country on the planet with its own set of customs, norms, and etiquettes, just as countries have here on Earth. As good travelers, it is important to understand and respect these customs. If we apply this analogy to today's workplace, we are all required to travel to the planet effective communication and navigate a multitude of communication channels and their various etiquettes. While digital communication has provided us with an amazing array of tools and opportunities to communicate, it has also introduced new norms that have made the process of sending, receiving, and understanding ideas much more complicated. The good news is we can learn to navigate the complexities wisely and well. How has digital communication changed us? One of the great benefits of digital communication is the speed by which we can convey information and accomplish tasks. We can make deals instantaneously via email using digital signatures to sign off. On-demand, just-in-time information is at our fingertips. The pace, scope, and scale of information is constantly accelerating. However, the immediacy of information creates a sense of urgency that results in shorter attention spans and expectations of faster response times. There is a commonly cited statistic that the average human attention span is now at about 8 seconds, equivalent to that of a goldfish. According to the inbound marketing software company HubSpot, typical office workers check their email 30 times per hour, and the average person picks up his or her phone more than 1,500 times per week. This consumes an astonishing 3 hours and 16 minutes a day. Good communication skills become even more important in the digital age when getting someone's attention and keeping it is a genuine challenge. Multiple communication channels mean there are more places to keep track of and check throughout the working day. If you are in a consumer-facing industry or a customer service role, you may use multiple channels just to stay connected with customers. Add to that channels for internal communication, email, company chats, intranet feeds, webinars, and other online training sessions and teleconferences. There is also a world of technology beyond screens and keyboards. The Internet of Things, IoT, and the smart technology it uses are already in common use at home. If it hasn't already, this technology will soon find its way to a workplace near you. Each of these channels brings its own specific technical requirements, etiquettes, and norms. Marshall McLuhan, an internationally renowned media theorist who essentially predicted the Internet back in the 1960s, said famously that, "The medium is the message," referring to the way that the tools we use to communicate shape the communication itself. The digital age has made some forms of communication nearly obsolete, while introducing new forms, forcing us to adapt to be effective. Consider what a rare thing it is now to receive a long-form written letter via regular post, what we now call snail mail. Even lengthy emails and text posts are outdated. In contemporary communications, clarity and brevity are key. Communication in the digital age is shorter, faster, and higher volume. Are we communicating better or worse now? There are many opinions on the positive or negative effects of increased digital communication and its impact. We are the first generation that has had to deal with the integration of analog and digital tools in the workplace, and we are often learning as we go. Whether you feel we are communicating better or worse now may well depend on your generation. In one of my previous books, Digital Legacy Plan, A Guide to the Personal and Practical Elements.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?